Hi, Cree here. And I just had a thought. So I immediately realized I had to go and yap on the camera about it. And basically, I was thinking about the moment that I realized why bad people still attract good things. And I think it's important for people to realize why this is because I have known people and I've been in a relationship with people who are confused. And when I was younger, I it bothered me, but it never bothered me to the extent that it bothered other people, if that makes sense. Like some people just roll in that, like, why does everybody else get stuff and I don't, type shit. So let me tell you about the moment I realized. I was beginning to realize. Uh, Also, ignore the mess in the back. I am cleaning up. But, anyways, it was around, it was probably exactly 2023, like the end of the year. And I was coming out of a situation slash relationship with a guy that was very much not good for me. We were not together, but we had dated previously and we're kind of on and off throughout time, even after we had stopped dating. And I had no business still talking to this guy, but I had low self esteem and I truly did care about him. And I'm sure he cared about me too, but it was just a toxic situation all around. But, anyways, long story short, he had a sibling who even I could say sucked ass. She was not she was not the best person. Okay, she treated her family like shit according to his words. And yeah, she sucked, but apparently despite her sucking, she still would get a lot of things that she wanted. She would still, like, even her brother, he would give her gifts and things, and apparently she would get the shit that she wanted all the time. And he came to me at a point during our last times, kind of like, knowing each other, and it was like he just didn't understand, like, why, like, despite the way that she is, she would just get stuff and things would go her way. And it just made me think because I had known about her for years, but that last time we were talking about it really made me think. And that's also at the same time, I was like, I was spiritual for a while, but I was starting to really take it seriously in terms of like really thinking about how I attract. So, changing around how I think about myself, the people I allow in my life, that kind of thing. So, when he was saying that about her and, why she would get things and she still sucks, it made me really think. And I was looking into just different belief systems and things of that nature. It ultimately came to the realization, or at least a semi realization. I didn't truly embody it, but I was starting to realize that bad people can still get good things because those people believe that they deserve them, or at the very least, they expect the things that they want. They expect to have the things that they want, essentially. And I feel like that realization makes it a lot easier to not exactly accept, but come to terms with any negative or not so great feeling emotions that come with thinking about why other people get things and you don't. And I've personally never been like the envious type myself when it comes to people and things, but like I get it. That is very frustrating. I can even understand it. Me personally, I understand it from the point of like I really dislike just seeing people who I know are shitty. receive good things simply because, like, it's not a me thing. It's more of just like, I know people who deserve a lot more that could have gotten that. I have like this justice thing about it. That's the difference with me. But yeah. So I think about it sometimes because a lot of people can get into, like, it's so easy to fall into the victim mindset of like, why them, not me. And when it's a little annoying when you first get into the thought process of how simple it sounds. It's just like, they get things because they assume they will have the thing. But it's like, when you really think about it, it you could easily use it to make yourself a whole lot less pressed about it. Because the more pressed you are about it, the less likely you are to receive the shit that you want, because you're so pressed about other shit that you're not actually taking in the information that you need to take in to get the things that you want. People are always worried about what other people got going on all the time. And I believe that that is the very same reason why other people are not getting what they want, because they're sitting and worrying about complaining. And I'm not going to not complaining. I love complaining myself. I sometimes I don't allow myself to complain, and that's a whole other situation. But I love to complain when I can, and I don't blame other people for complaining. But there's a balance to be had. There is a balance to be had. If you're going to complain, you need to pay attention to what you're complaining about as well and take it from there. How you're going to navigate your situation. Um, but yes, I've known plenty of people who will complain but are not really thinking about how they can move and how they can change their mindset to get those same things that other people have. And another thing I've noticed in my life personally is that, how do I put it? I felt that I was blocking my blessings in this interesting way where, when it comes to people I dislike, it came to me one day to ask this question to myself. It's like, okay, so when you are receiving, you ask for answers. You ask for answers from a higher plane, whether that be God, your ancestors, spirit guides, higher self, whatever, whoever you're asking for answers. Okay? When you really think about it, you haven't specified where those answers come from. A lot of people don't specify. I don't specify myself. And one day I came to that realization. It's like, yeah, I'm asking for answers, but have I specified how I want it to come? And I was thinking, like, technically they could come from anywhere. For example, when I was younger and I was asking higher powers for answers, and I was first getting into spirituality, and the fact that I could ask my ancestors for things, I realized that all throughout my life there were like, there's spiders constantly in my life, and I've always had arachnophobia. I've had arachnophobia for as long as I can remember. So I would say at least around 9 is when I first was realizing it, and realizing that it was a big issue for me. And I would see these spiders on my life. And fast forward maybe 10 years later to like 19, 20-year-old me, and I'm looking into spirituality stuff, and I'm realizing that spiders can be a higher power, or especially your ancestors' ways of communicating with you, showing you things. And I was like, oh shit. So immediately I asked, like, I sat and I was like kind of in a meditation situation. And I was like, ancestors, if this is you showing me all these spiders all over the place, I appreciate it, but can we please stop it? I do not want signs and messages through spiders, please, because they were a big problem around like our house and the yard. Like it was very abundant in spiders where I was living at. And I shit you not, the spiders stopped. I would wake up every other night seeing a spider on the ceiling of my bedroom, or I go in the bathroom and see a spider on the ceiling or the wall, spiders outside, like in excessive amounts. And as soon as I went and consulted that higher power, they stopped. I stopped seeing them as often. I would see them every now and again, but not nearly as often as I was seeing them before. And I just say that to say you can curate these things. You have the full power to curate how you receive your messages and signs. And with that being said, when it comes to you asking with no clarification on how your messages and signs of things come in, they could come in through any way. And I say that to say they could even come in through ways of people you don't like in situations you don't like. And with that being said, this is why it's important to be aware, because you're the like as you're asking for answers and signs from the universe, your ancestors, spirit guides, higher power, they could come through people you dislike, and that's a big trigger for people that people don't like. I'm still triggered by people I don't like at times. And this doesn't mean that you have to like them. This just means that you have to become extra aware, because whether you like the person or not, you don't want to miss those messages. They could be very important, like this one. This guy was sitting here wondering why in the world his sibling was getting everything she wanted, it still was a shitty person. When he could have realized, I'm not going to say he should have, because, these things, I know life is difficult, but like in another vein, he could have realized she's getting what she wants because she expects what she wants to come through for her. She believes that she deserves those things that she's getting. And I just found that really important to voice, because life is complicated. It doesn't have to be. And I don't even believe it's inherently complicated, but the way that the world is, a lot of things end up being complicated when it could all be so simple. And this is why it's also important to know yourself and to like practice awareness, because there's so many things that are there. Oh, my light source. There are so many things that are there that you could utilize, but there are blocks mentally. And when there are blocks mentally, you could so very easily miss the messages and signs that you would like to be seeing in order for you to ascend or grow in the way that you desire. Because I mean, I didn't like the girl either. But like I really sat there and was like, okay, why does she get those things that she wants. Because I'm going to be honest, that guy was not a stand up guy either. He was not. He was sweet at times, but like when it came to being not the greatest person, she was more often not the greatest person. But like he also was abusive and manipulative. So like, and he still ain't get what he want. So like at that point, you really have to sit there and think like, okay, what's the difference here? What's the difference here? It's not how they treat people. Certainly not. So you've got to look at people's mindset. And honestly, looking at people's mindset will also, for me, it used to really stress me out and it used to make me angry. But the more that I pay attention to people's mindset over their actions or interpret their mindset through their actions, the more peace it brings me to really understand like, okay, people just be like that. And there's not, if I don't want to be involved with them, there's nothing I can do about it. Or even if I am involved with someone, there's not much I can do about their mindset other than distance myself if I feel like I should. And I feel like that's a big mistake when it comes with people, at least in my experience, because there is like so much of the energy of like worrying about what other people got going on that could be put into realizing more things about yourself, if that makes sense. It's basically like a waste of energy on other people. But yeah, I just felt like I had to get on and say that. I felt like I was like, oh my God, I just thought about this. I gotta go on and talk about it. I gotta yap about it. So here we are. I hope that was enlightening, and I'll come through when there's another idea that I must yap about. Stay safe. Remember that you are the creator of your reality.